All right, everyone, welcome back to the Jack of All Trades podcast. This is episode 8 of, we're in season 2 right now, and season 2 is kind of flown by really quickly. Today we have a fantastic episode for all you guys out there, and first Zoom-in call today. We're going to have a great guest. Let's go ahead and hear that intro. So, welcome back, everyone. Like I said earlier, we're going to have a great episode today. We got a really good guest coming on. Been mentioned in several of the episodes. As Peyton Hartman said last episode, the man, the myth, Phill Smith is here today. And, so he's zooming in today, so we'll go ahead and hear from him. Go ahead and give your intro, your name, your job, etc., whatever you want to share.
All right, I appreciate you having me on the show. My name's Phill Smith, and I am Jackson's grandfather, one of them. And let's see here. I am a retired police officer. Total years in law enforcement, about 59 years. I've at present position is commissioner at the Speedway Police Department. I've been in that position for 14 years.
Wow, 14. I mean, you've probably seen some 14, then you said 59 of being in law enforcement. I'm sure you have tons and tons of stories about stuff like that. So I'm sure we will get into that stuff later on. And why don't we just go ahead and jump into that first segment right now? I'll explain it to the audience. You get a brand new segment today. It's called Story Time. And so story time is pretty much if you have a interesting occupation that is granted by the team here and reviewed, and we think that stories from your job would be kind of worth listening to from our audience, we kind of do this segment. So and I think being a police officer is probably one of the or just being in law enforcement in general is probably one of the probably most interesting being able to hear stories and experience those stories and stuff from. So it's probably one of the best jobs to have all those stories and those memories from. So I was told by an outside source today that I should ask you, how did you become a police officer?
Well, I became interested in police work when my brother was he started out as the town marshal of Ladoga, Indiana. From there, he went to the Greencastle Police Department, where he retired from there and went to the, let's see here. Before that, he was in Cloverdale. He was the marshal of Cloverdale because they were under the marshal system. So he was the full complement of being an officer. I mean,
Yeah.
he was it. No, nobody else, just him. So anyway, then he went from there to Greencastle, where he retired. Then he went to work for DePaul University on their security. And now I think DePaul maybe even be a police department now. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's so. He was a big influence on me. I talked to him quite a bit about the job, and he said Speedway would be a good place because at one time, actually, he was on the Speedway Police Department, where he actually was the deal where they had the police department and fire department combined.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was back in the days, and that's when they had a lot of volunteers. I don't know how many paid actually firemen they had, but it was in the old building there at the corner of 15th and Lyndhurst. The one, if you look at the building on the left-hand side, it's all bricked in now. That used to be the actual where they kept the fire engine at.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could probably throw up a picture right now on the screen for all those people who don't know what Speedway, Indiana is. They can kind of see what old Phill is talking about right now. Some people have obviously heard about you and the feats that you've accomplished, but here on the podcast set, people know you most as we got a little picture frame of you up on the set, and it's been here since episode 1, and it'll continue to stay here for the foreseeable future. So, I mean, if there's any like specific police story that you would feel the need to include, whether that's a chase or a robbery or something that you feel is kind of want to enlighten the audience about. I'm sure everyone would love to hear something.
Well, there's been a lot of chases, a lot of memories. The Probably the one that sticks in my mind most was there was a burglary one time in Speedway, and I was a road lieutenant at the time, and one of the witnesses to this burglary actually had a license plate number. So we ran the license plate number, and it came back to a location off of Girls School Road. Actually, it's a nice house back in there now. It's got iron gates up and everything. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
before that, it was just a dirt type road that went back in there. Kind of spooky, really. So anyway, I called the detectives. The detective came out. He said, "Well, jump in my car since it's unmarked, and let's go and see if we can, find the car that was involved." Well, we go down this long road. It's probably about half or three quarters of a mile long.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but trees on both sides. This is probably 1 o'clock in the morning. We come back in this area and it opened up it's like to a big cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Well, there's a bunch of shanties all the way around there now. Do you know what a shanty is?
I mean, the word comes to mind when I hear shanties. I think of Happy Gilmore, where Shooter McGavin says, "Go back to your shanties." So I can kind of picture what you mean by that.
Right. A lot of dilapidated homes back in there. So anyway, there's a bunch of cars parked, and it was kind of a deal where you went in and made a circle type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as we come in, I only saw lights on in one house. And there's the one straight in front of us. So anyway, we're creeping along, and he's looking at license plate numbers on his side because I got trees and stuff on mine. And about that time, I look up, and here comes a guy running out of the house with a rifle. So he goes to the right and gets behind a tree,
Mm-hmm.
aims a rifle at us. Okay. I tell my partner, I said, "Hey, look, there's a guy got a rifle pointed at us." By that time, I look up. Here comes another guy out of the house with a shotgun. He goes to the left.
Jeez.
So we swung the car back around, and I went to climb. He got a position, of course, it was on my side.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm getting ready to climb out of the car on his side, and he's reaching in his glove box. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm trying to get my gun out." Well, that time is, late at night. He got called from home, had his gun in the glove box and the whole bit.
Mm.
So he grabs it. I crawl over the top of him out his side because I don't want to get shot.
Yeah.
Anyway, we put out a call on the radio of code one. That's an officer needing help. That means drop everything you're doing, come help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, the sweetest sound in the world was hearing these sirens coming. And I
Yeah.
mean, there's a bunch of them. We had Claremont, we had state police, Speedway police, um, uh, Indianapolis police. Everyone's coming to us. So anyway, I look up kind of over the edge of this car and look, and they got these rifle and shotgun pointed at us. And I told Dave, there's Dave Wilson who it is, was rest his soul, he's passed. But anyway, I said, "Dave," I said, if I hear that click where he's jacked a shell in the shotgun or pulled that trigger back on that rifle, I said, I'm gonna fire. He said,
Yeah.
"Do it." Well, anyway, make a long story short, luckily, that's when we can see the lights and red lights come down this long
Mm-hmm.
road. Well, after about probably 20 to 30 minutes making announcements over a loudspeaker, they did come out, and there was probably 6 or 7 people in that house. We recovered 3 police scanners. They were listening to us the whole time. Um, we got about, I think about 2.5 pounds of cocaine that they didn't flush down the toilet, a bunch of
Wow.
marijuana, and we had probably a total of probably about 9 or 10 guns that we got out of
Wow.
it. Well, come to find out what the deal was, a week before that, DEA had raided that house, and they thought they were coming back to arrest him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we ended up making like I got 7 arrests out of that house, and it was
Wow.
by the grace of God, I think that I didn't get shot or whatever. So that's the one story that really sticks in my mind. I've got a lot, but that's one of them.
I think that is a fantastic story to share. It's very, not everyone sees specific sides of, in this case, law enforcement. some people more nowadays, unfortunately, negative or view it negatively. And I think those people, not trying to bash on them, I feel like some of those people who speak negatively on law enforcement either don't have people that they're close to or related to or in their family that are in law enforcement and know what kind of pressure, I guess you could say, that holds on someone, and not only that specific officer, but also that family. So I really appreciate you sharing that. Hopefully that maybe brings to light the kind of intensity that law enforcement goes through. And considering that was when, back in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, probably the early 70s. Yes.
Yeah. And considering that happened then, it's probably only ramped up now. And I mean, that's the way the story goes. And so yeah, I really appreciate you kind of sharing that story with us. Obviously I've heard tons of them in my lifetime, and maybe we'll have Phill Smith back on the podcast eventually in the future and have him share some more stories, because I'm sure this is going to be a popular episode for that very specific reason. But yeah, we can go ahead and get into that next segment. Our next segment, we've done it before, and I'm sure you'll appreciate it as well over there. This is Guess That Celebrity. And Guess That Celebrity is a very, as I would say, an easier segment to, in this case, do over Zoom. So the celebrity today is someone that you know. So you and I feel like kind of share somewhat of a bond over this person, the celebrity. So the first clue is this celebrity has 500 or more white shoes in their shoe collection. And to give you a little preface, there are a total of 5 clues. At any point in time, you can guess.
Okay.
So I'm assuming right now you have really not a whole lot of sense on who it is.
Can I guess right now?
You can go ahead and you can get as many guesses as you want.
Elvis Presley.
It is not Elvis Presley.
Okay.
Okay. So, the next clue is that this person is an actor. So they have 500 something shoes that are all white. They're an actor. With me saying they're an actor, I'll do that third clue, and their third clue is that they are a comedian. So, but there are a lot of comedians nowadays that are actors. So with that, the fourth clue is this actor / comedian never has won an Emmy Award. So like the Emmys that happen every year, this person's been nominated several times, but has never won. Do you have any clue after hearing 4 of the 5 guesses right now?
No, I don't.
Okay. And this one may give it away, and if the audience doesn't know who it is right now, they may know after I say this. This person has his very own show.
Ooh.
So I'm sure there's some people out there that know what it is. I'll give you a minute to think about who it may be. I reference this show almost daily. I was actually referencing it today with some of my friends.
Does it have anything to do with Christmas Vacation or things like that?
It's I would say it's that kind of comedy, like it's that kind of like dry humor a little bit, like kind of older humor, but it's not any of those characters. No. Yeah, I mean, this show I've seen it at least 5 times through the whole thing. It's just a hilarious show. It's a feel-good show, and what people say sometimes is that it's, and you may get it when I say this, is that it is a show about nothing. Like there's no real plot line. So I'm assuming you probably have a guess right now.
Jerry Seinfeld.
It is Jerry Seinfeld. I think you're the only person, you and maybe one other guest are the only people who have ever gotten it in those clues. I mean, you and me have probably watched countless either clips or episodes of Seinfeld, and very like when people think of comedy now, they think of the modern day stand-up comedians, and I'm still think of Jerry Seinfeld, and I think of Adam Sandler, and all the people who are a little bit older in their age now. But yeah, such a great show. Remember, my dad has all the VHS tapes down in our
Oh, yeah.
basement, so still got those. But yeah, yeah. So I guess that celebrity was Jerry Seinfeld. Um, the third segment that we'll do, I do see that you have a Purdue Boilermakers hat.
Yes, I
Um,
do. I
the
wear it
boy,
off.
the Boilers had a great game recently against Rutgers.
Yes,
Um,
they do.
we have had some struggling years, couple years being there with either 4 years ago with Ron Harper Jr. hitting a half court shot to beat us, or um, I think it was even last year where they beat us when we were at home, or 2 years ago they beat us when we were at Mackey, and it's just like how do you lose to someone when you're playing in Mackey Arena?
Sure.
Um, but yeah, they do have a game coming up against Iowa State here soon. I think it's actually here in it. What would be today actually? This episode comes out on December, I think 6th. So Saturday, and I think that the Boilers technically today would be playing Iowa State. So go Boilers! We hope they bring home the victory.
Definitely.
So yeah, our third segment is we'll hear more from you. I know I've been talking a good amount. Our third segment is star-studded. Star-studded is like I say with a lot of different segments, it's fan favorite. We kind of get to hear a little bit about. We kind of get to pick the mind of our guests, and maybe draw some conclusions of the kind of person that they are. The audience can do that depending on who they choose to do certain activities with. So, with me saying what our third segment is, so the way this rolls is we will hear your activity first, what you're going to be doing with these three different celebrities or that you have in mind, and then we'll hear the three celebrities and your kind of reasons why. So let's go ahead and hear that activity first, and what would you and these people be doing?
What would we be doing? Oh, if this is a deal where who I'd like to maybe have a conversation with or sit down to dinner, probably number one would be Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
Clint Eastwood's he's probably what 90 some years old now,
he's the
but
second oldest actor, I think, right now.
right. And I tell you, the movies he played in. I mean, he played a police officer in a lot of those, or a cowboy or whatever. Uh,
Yeah.
um, I just like pick his mind.
Hmm.
Say, see what kind of a person he is off screen. I mean, I've seen interviews with him and things like that, but you never know how a guy's going to act when he sits down across
Yeah.
from you having supper or dinner or a
Yeah.
drink or whatever. So,
Where cameras aren't on him and
right.
stuff like that. One of my personal favorite movies of his is Gran Torino.
Yes.
I feel like that's probably that or The Mule. Yeah, those two are probably
Yeah.
my favorite movies of his.
Did you
Um,
watch any of the Dirty Harry movies?
I haven't, and I've also heard that I haven't watched it, and I'm kind of ashamed that I haven't. But I haven't seen the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly,
Mm.
which is also one of his earlier movies that he had.
That and Hang 'em High, I believe, is another one
Hmm.
he's in, another cowboy. But
Yeah.
and he's a a heck of an actor. This. So uh, talk about somebody else. Oh, I tell you, this is a deal where maybe somewhere down the road I might be able to talk to him. I might not be able to talk to him. Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes, that's an interesting addition to Clint Eastwood.
Yes, it's just a completely opposite one, but you know how much I love basketball
Hmm.
and baseball with the Cubs, of course.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's he seems like a very jolly type person.
Hmm.
Uh, and we all hated that he got hurt and is out and everything, but I saw a little clip, I think it was on TV today, that showed him going up and dunking the ball.
Yeah, it's crazy how advanced uh how quickly someone can get back from an injury nowadays with the advanced technology and the medical field that we have. Because there's three guys who tore their Achilles in the postseason last year, and they're all fine, or for the most part, fine now. And Tyrese is just uh, from the videos that I've seen, and obviously with Dean Havlin and Ben Havlin working for the Pacers. I've heard some stories, and they were like, everyone loves him. He would be a guy that you would always want to be around. Like he's always positive, but when he's ready to work, like he'll be determined and to get things done. And actually, when you said Tyrese Halliburton, I actually recently purchased his basketball shoes.
Oh, did you?
So they're my first pair of Puma basketball shoes. So hopefully I haven't tested them out yet, but I tried them on. And they feel great, and I just like the way they look. They're the colorway that he wore in the finals this past year, kind of the pinkish,
Oh yeah.
maroon kind of colored ones. So I got those, and everyone is like, "Oh, you're gonna tear your Achilles," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." So. Yeah, I'm excited to watch him get back
Oh yeah.
next year, especially with, unfortunately, the way the Pacers year's going right now isn't too great. But to look at the bright side, if it doesn't end up great, we get a high draft pick and we get our star back. So
Right.
it'll be a very, very interesting year next year, considering how this year plays out. So
Well, I
yeah,
remember. Go ahead. I
no,
remember.
after you.
I remember your brother making fun of Uncle Scott because he was wearing Pumas at one
Yeah.
time. And now look at it,
Yeah, now like the whole state of Indiana's favorite basketball player is sponsored by them, and all of his stuff is
Yeah,
Puma. So,
yeah.
yeah. So right now you said you're just going to be like going to dinner, being able to pick their brain or stuff like that. You have Clint Eastwood and Tyrese Halliburton. Who are you going to round out your group with?
Probably uh, Ronald Reagan. Oh,
Wow.
Ronnie. Yeah. He, as president, did a lot of things, and the old famous saying of Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
and I'll play that clip right now, or an image from that clip. I know he has a few, maybe not him personally, but I know there's a lot of books written about him, a lot of good award-winning books written about Reagan. And I know that personally, I think that my father's favorite president was Reagan. I could be wrong, could be hearing about that later on after this episode airs, but from my memory, I'm pretty sure his favorite president was Reagan. And rightfully so. Everyone, I remember, was thinking there's that term that comes up when you run for presidency, especially back then. I feel like from the things I've studied and the things I've read, that you almost have to look the part. And he was an actor, I'm pretty sure, before
yes,
becoming president. And I think that kind of helped him with he was media trained, especially from being on TV. And so when those serious situations arise where they have to do those breaking from the White House videos, the videos that I've seen, he just seems really well put together, and does seem like an interesting guy to kind of pick his brain and see. With most presidents, you kind of want to pick their brain and see what were you thinking in this certain situation.
and I think it was him too, wasn't it, that had a jar of jelly beans on his desk?
Yes, I've heard that. I've heard he was a
Yeah,
big like candy
big can,
connoisseur. Yeah. So,
kind of like you.
yeah. I have fallen victim to the sweetness of sour Skittles from time to time. So, yeah, that rounds out that segment. It's a very interesting list. Maybe that gives our audience out there kind of little sight into your mind and how you kind of view these certain people, and maybe gives them a little bit more about your kind of character and stuff. And I hope that's what this whole segment's about, trying to be able to understand the guests a little bit more. And understanding the guests a little bit more with me saying that. Something has arisen within the past 2 years or so, where you've gone by almost a nickname between the people that know about this, and that is the commish, or cooking with the commish.
Yes.
And in those videos, I'll have a few clips playing, maybe over on the side or maybe wherever. You cook, and the dishes always look like they come out incredible. Technically, you have your own cookbook now, called Cooking with the Commish, and so why don't you just give us a little bit about that? Give us a little information.
Well, the book itself was created by a gentleman, as I'm looking at right now, uh,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that. Yeah, it's kind of a hobby type deal.
Hmm.
I'm not a great cook. It's just that I do the old what they call it, home style cooking.
Yep.
A lot of chili, a lot of chicken and dumplings.
Hmm.
Odds and ends of things like that. I watch some. I used to watch all kinds of cooking shows. Now it's one of those deals of if it pops up on the internet, I'll look at it.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's a pretty good deal. It's something that I guess that I picked up after my wife passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's either starve or you know,
Yeah.
you only have so much carry out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And the homestyle cooking, that kind of, I guess you could say, genre of cooking, that's cooking that tastes the best, in my opinion. Obviously, being a college student and living off things that I cook, you kind of appreciate that a little bit more when you're like, dang, I wish I had a home cooked meal, or something that's like something that I didn't cook or isn't, I don't know, Panda Express or Taco Bell or something like that. Even though Panda Express is incredible.
it is number one.
And and I am not sponsored by them, but I would very much be appreciated being sponsored by
How
Panda
about how
Express.
about this little story here, real quick?
Yeah.
Um, we were in Panama City Beach this past September with my daughter Gina and Scott, and we were had been partaking in some adult beverages during the day, and decided that no one should go out and get any food. Didn't
Yeah.
feel like cooking that night, so let's order Panda Express. Sounded pretty good. Well, I had a hard time trying to read it, so Gina orders it. Well, I get the usual orange chicken and fried rice.
Hmm.
That's my forte. So
That's
anyway,
usually mine too.
yep. And anyway, when it got there, I took the first bite of the chicken, and I went, "Whoa, that's really hot." Well, kind of find out it was hot orange chicken, and she thought
Yeah.
when she ordered it was, "Yeah, I want it hot. I don't want it cold." So that's the only one she saw that said orange chicken. So, needless to say, I ate about probably two or three pieces of it, and I mean, I was sweating and everything. It was just terrible. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, like you said, that's your forte. That's always mine too. I'm either that or I'm always orange chicken. I'm team orange chicken. But another good side that I usually get is what's it called? Lo mein,
lo
like
mein. I like
the
that.
noodles and
Yep.
kind of the veggies cooked into that. I always think that stuff's pretty good. And another really good restaurant, we actually have one in Speedway. I don't know if you've been to it. And there's one in Avon as well called Yummy Bowl,
Yummy bowl.
and I mean, it goes unnoticed in my mind sometimes when I think about what I want to eat when I'm home or whatnot. And but when I go there, I'm like, there's never been a time where I haven't been to Yummy Bowl where I'm like, it's awesome because it's a buffet styled
Hmm.
Lebanese Chinese restaurant where you put your stuff, you go down this kind of cafeteria style lunch line, and you grab, there's crab, there's noodles, there's different types of vegetables, there's different sauces and seasonings that you can put on them. You can put eggs in it, and then once you're done, you put all this stuff in a bowl. You give it to the staff, and they have this big steam stone or cooking stone in the middle of the restaurant where they cook it, fry it up, make it taste good, and then they bring it to you, and it kind of makes you feel like you cooked it because you know what's going to be in it, and it's not like something you're ordering off a menu and you don't know um, what it's going to taste like. So
You ever been
um,
to Benihana?
I have not been to Benihana.
That's an interesting place to go. I mean, it's
I mean, I've never been there, so I hear it all the time in TV shows about like let's go to Benihana's or something.
yeah.
Um, Also, another really good place is Hirosaki, or I think it's Hirosaki in Avon. That's also on old US 36 or Rockville Road. Been there once or twice. That place is really good. That's just a typical style hibachi restaurant. But yeah. So we talked about cooking with the commission. I think that leads perfectly into our next point, which is we'll talk about kind of your duties of being a police commissioner.
Well, I'm the chairman of the police commission and have been for probably 10 years, something like that, uh, which means I run the meetings basically. In
Hmm.
those meetings, we have the chief of police and the two deputy chiefs of police, Sam Alexander and Robert Dine, and the chief is Chuck Upchurch, um, which is kind of funny because I broke Chuck in on the road
Yeah.
as a lieutenant. So, yeah, the duties that we had, there's a three-man board, myself and Tim Ramian and Benny Grove, uh, and we serve at the pleasure of the town council. In fact, I'm up for reappointment next month. So, well,
Nice.
yeah. So we'll see how it goes. Uh, I hope to get reappointed, but anyway, our duties are basically to approve all budget items, to approve all the rules and regulations. Which when I started out in the police department in 1966, we had maybe a quarter of an inch was our rules and regulations, and now we're about probably not exaggerating 700 or 800 pages, maybe more.
Wow.
So we have to approve all those. We also take care of promotions and the hiring process, and also disciplinary, which
Yeah.
that's the bad part.
Yeah.
But
It's an important part.
yes, that's right. It very much is because the thing of it is it takes us a long time to hire someone
Yeah.
because the process we go through is they have to go through psychological testing. They have to go through a physical agilities test.
Hmm.
Uh, they have to go through a polygraph, and that's where we lose a lot of people on a polygraph.
Yeah.
Uh, Whereas other departments, they bypass some of those steps, and I think sometimes it could be that that's the problems they have. We screen our people very closely, and our supervisors keep a good eye out on the officers while they're working. Of course, they have the body cameras now,
Hmm.
and we're going to have between 8 and 10 in-car cameras. We used to have in-car cameras, and we took them out, and the new company that we're getting our body cameras from are giving us 8 to 10 in-car cameras.
Hmm.
So it isn't like the old days where when you get out and you handle business.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, it's good because we've had people come around and say, "Well, this officer did this or this officer did that."
Yeah.
We go back and look at the body cam footage. It's not like that.
Yeah. There's people who try to bend the truth nowadays more than ever, and um, at the risk of getting someone else in trouble, they lie. And speaking of that, lying, vocab word of the day is polygraph. Did introduce vocab words of the day during last episode with Mr. Hartman, but word of the day is polygraph. Similar to, in a simpler terms, it is a lie detector test.
Correct.
So yeah, yeah, and you were talking about body cam footage within the past year. Actually, no, within the past 2 years, I had jury duty. Once you become, I think it's 18 years or older in the state of Indiana, you are summoned to jury duty randomly. At the time, I was working for a law firm when I got my summons for jury duty over, I think it was in the month of June. And when I got summoned, I was like, all right, that's cool. Like, I've never done jury duty there. I've typically there's a lot of complaints about going and doing jury duty and sitting through it. It takes too long and all this stuff. But for me, I'm just, like I said, I was working for a law firm, and it was obviously during the middle of the week. So I went up to my boss and asked him, I was like, hey, I have jury duty this day, and I'm going to have to miss work. He was like, we'll pay you full time if you take notes during the case, since he was an attorney. And I was like, okay, that's pretty nice. Like, I'm getting paid for not being at work. But then I was thinking, all right, they typically do that questionnaire before you go in and before you get selected. And one of the questions is, do you have anyone that you're related to in law enforcement? And at the time I was like, yes, I have two, my uncle and my grandfather. And then I asked, it was like, what's your occupation right now? And I was like, I work for a law firm, but I didn't say what I was doing. So I didn't say I was a marketing intern or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm probably going to get excused and told to leave, since those two reasons are like some of the biggest reasons why you would get asked to leave. So you're not biased. For some odd reason, I wasn't released, and I was sitting in the very first chair too. So I get brought in, and I'm probably 20 years younger than the next oldest person in there, or the next youngest person in there. I'm probably 20 years younger than them. So, and I'm in the very first chair. So they asked me, some guy walks up to me, he was like, so Mr. Smith? And I'm like, yes. And they said, you're clearly the youngest person here. I was like, yeah, I feel like that's obvious. And the fast forward, the case was possession of methamphetamine and forcibly resisting arrest. And they asked me, they were like, so we see that on your questionnaire you have law enforcement in your family. I was like, yes, that's true. I said my grandfather is a commissioner, and my uncle, who at the time, Scott Weiland, he's on reserve, I think is the title of it right now.
Actually, he was a park ranger.
He was a park ranger. Right now, I think he's technically retired, but still a reserve or something.
Yeah, something
like that. But at the time, he was a park ranger. So I was like, yes, I have two family members who are in law enforcement. And he was like, what are their names? I was like, well, Scott Weiland is one of them. He's a park ranger, and Phill Smith is the commissioner on the board or chairman of the commission for Speedway Police Department. And he was like, tell them I said hi. And then walked away. I was like, I thought that would get me to ask to leave, but I guess not. So, but tying all this back to what you were saying about those body cams, we were shown footage during jury duty, and I don't think the possession of methamphetamine, that we can't really argue that. I feel like it was obvious, but what they were trying to ask us, should we charge? There wasn't separate charges. It was all one charge. So if one thing didn't seem that it happened, he was going to get released or community service or something along those lines. So, which was unfortunate because the possession of methamphetamine was very obvious. And the forcibly resisting arrest, I thought it was forcibly resisting, but most of the group, they showed us body cam footage, and they were like, well, we can't really tell because like the body camera's kind of pressed up against him. And I was like, but you can probably hear noises. And that's why I feel like I should have been let go, because I was biased. I was like, if you ask me, even if it wasn't forcibly resisting arrest, he was resisting arrest, and he clearly had possession. So I don't know. But I was 20 years younger, so no one's going to look at me and be like, yeah, he knows it all. So yeah, I don't know how I got selected, and there was 6 of us total, I think. And one of the guys was like, he said it was his 5th time being summoned and 5th time being picked in, I think it's 10 years, because it's every 2 years or something you get randomly picked. So yeah, I mean, we've discussed a lot today. We've had very packed episode. Maybe with this being episode 8, and we have 2 more episodes after this coming out for the podcast of season 2, and then we move on to season 3 with some more guests. We may do a set rechange, and with that set rechange, like we did with the beginning of this season with Adding a Wall, obviously you folks out there can't see it with this episode today, but we may be switching some stuff around. A lot of the stuff on the set has actually been generously donated, you could say, by the man on the screen with us today. There's some new stuff that's going to be put up, and all I can say is thank you for kind of the little trinkets and memorabilia that we display here proudly on the set. Our Speedway Fire Police Department hat sits front and center on every episode, and that's to pay homage not only to you but to the Speedway Police Department, but also to police departments and police officers everywhere. I feel like we need to, with this platform, we can raise awareness for kind of the truth and the pressure and intensity that I said earlier that's put on police officers, not only themselves but their families and the people that are affected by them or closely tied to them. So obviously I am a pro police, pro law enforcement person, I guess you could say, and I feel like that's how it should be around the world. But I know that some people have certain opinions, and as much as they are entitled to them, hopefully one day they'll understand what it truly means maybe to be a police officer. It ties directly into being American for me. If you're American, you need to respect law enforcement. You need to respect the people out there who are first responders. And it's just, I think it'll get there one day, but today is not that day. So, yeah.
True. I think the perception that people have right now is maybe they have one encounter with a police officer, and it could be a bad encounter. And the thing of it is like let's say a vandalism takes place. Well, there's only so much the police department can do on something like that. Well, The next thing you know is police are being badmouthed because they haven't done anything or whatever. I worked detectives on the police department for about 4, maybe 5 years. And the one thing I always did was I always followed up on every case, even if somebody had a vandalism done, their window broken out or this or whatever, and I would call them back and say, do you have any more information on this?
Yeah.
Or do you have anybody, any scuttlebutt as far as who's done this or whatever? And I think that's the whole deal. Most of the perception people have about police officers is all they do is go out and beat people up.
Yep.
And that's, to me, if an officer stops you, do what they tell you to do. They tell you to put your hands on the steering wheel, put your hands on the steering wheel, whatever. I'm sure you've seen these videos where an officer walks up with the body cam showing and a person won't roll their window down. Well, why won't you roll your window down? Well, I'm traveling. I'm not driving, I'm traveling.
Yeah.
And that's one of those deals there where, it can escalate a problem to a point of force have to be used.
Yeah. And people today, I think, I may get some backlash on this, but I have a right to an opinion just like everyone else out there. And I think that a lot of people today feel like they're very entitled when it comes to their encounters with law enforcement, more specifically. Like there's people who, like you said, put your hands on the steering wheel, and officers politely ask the people that they're pulling over to do that, and they're like, I don't need to do it. And I'm like, do you think something's going to happen? Or I don't know. It's just, and even outside of, obviously you're a police commissioner, obviously you're my grandfather, and I've had interactions with you, but I've had interactions with other police officers from other departments. And obviously some people have bad days, and everyone has bad days. But that doesn't mean that even if a police officer to you, somehow you feel like they're insulting you or being overly rude, that doesn't mean that you should retaliate. And that always escalates things, and especially escalating things with law enforcement doesn't end positively for the most part. I mean, they're just there trying to understand the situation, trying to help you. And I feel like people don't keep that mindset when, say, they're getting pulled over, they're getting asked questioned. And if you say, I'm not saying anything, I want to talk to my lawyer, okay, do that.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I've heard a bunch of police stories, and I feel like I know somewhat of the ins and outs of it through you and through Scott. But I've also worked for a law firm, so I've kind of seen both sides. Kind of seen, and this is kind of a little shout out to Mark Lopez Law Firm. I worked for them; they were attorneys, and they represented those people who violated a certain policy or ordinance, and so I kind of got to see the behind the scenes of that. But I mean, I can see both ways, but for me personally, even while working there, I always thought, just listen to the police officer. Even I feel like Mark from time to time is just like, if you don't want to, he never told them to respond back to a police officer with a rude comment or something. It's, if you say you want to plead the fifth and talk to your lawyer, you have the right to do that. But a police officer is not going to force you to say, you have to talk to me right now. Just don't. I mean, with all this being said, I think you and I can both agree, just like, don't escalate the situation. Be respectful, listen, don't be a child when it comes to another adult talking to you.
Right.
So, and maybe if people listen to that advice, maybe this world would maybe be a little bit of a better place in terms of views on law enforcement, more specifically police departments.
I agree with you.
So, yeah. Yeah. I also need to address happy holidays to all the people out there. This is the first episode of December. We will be having our next episode will be coming out in 2 short weeks. That will be with an undecided guest right now. And it'll be a Christmas themed episode, since that'll be the closest episode of Christmas. So happy holidays to everyone out there, both from the Jack of All Trades podcast company and set, as well as from Studio, Indiana, from Phill Smith's home. So,
okay, well, Jack, I appreciate you having me on your show. I've enjoyed it. I've watched all your episodes, and it seems like it's just, you're like another Johnny Carson.
I'm flattered. Yeah. And with that being said, if you guys would like to get notified when videos come out, you can go ahead, like, subscribe, comment to this video, and hit that notification bell so when new videos are released from our accounts, whether that's on Instagram or YouTube or Spotify, you're notified when those come out, and you can tune in right when they get released. Episodes come out every other Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, I mean, thank you for coming on today. I know setting up a Zoom call, being the first Zoom call, I feel like it went very well.
It did. It really did. It for a while there, I was kind of nervous it wasn't going to work right, because I've got a new computer and everything. So,
and with, I mean, I said it in Peyton Hartman's episode, being a one-man band, I always encounter difficulties even when filming on set and not having to do virtually through a call. So you just got to keep pushing through. Someone, I think it was Peyton Hartman or Kyle Smith, said it's the name of the game, just trying to work out the difficulties, but you can't just give up. If I gave up, this podcast wouldn't exist. So
it's true.
But yeah,
I do have one more thing for you before I sign off.
Of course, let's hear it.
You gonna do? Yeah, bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?